and welcome to another episode of the Park2Park podcast, where we compare theme park offerings from coast to coast. We don't always see eye to eye, but in the end, we'll try. I'm your host, Alli, and as always, I'm joined by CJ. How are you today?
I am doing well. We're a week out from Christmas, so a little bit stressed. How are you doing?
Good. Also a week out from Christmas, significantly less stressed, but we've had some weather today, and we lost power actually for a little bit this morning. It was fun.
Nice. Fun times.
Yep. Well, thank you all for joining us today. This episode, we're going to be talking about downtown Disney and Disney Springs shoppertainment areas. Obviously, one of those, the downtown Disney area, is in the Disneyland Resort, and Disney Springs is in Florida at the Walt Disney World Resort. So, CJ, what are your favorite parts of each of those places?
Well, I'm going to start with downtown Disney because I'm most familiar with that. And I guess my favorite thing is that it feels so lively, especially in the morning. Usually when I'm going through downtown Disney, it's to walk from the parking structure to Disneyland and California Adventure. And so in the morning, first thing, it feels like the resort is kind of waking up, right? Like the sun hasn't really hit downtown Disney just yet, and you still see some gardeners out and about working. You can see part of the Grand Californian with people maybe sipping coffee on their balcony. And there's like an air of excitement when you walk through downtown Disney. So the atmosphere is really important to me. And I love that it's so easy to get to from Disneyland and California Adventure. Like you just have to take a 2-minute walk and you're in downtown Disney. So I love that it's both a thoroughfare that puts you in the right mood to go to Disneyland, but it's also like part of the magic too.
Yeah, you can also, like, if you're having a day at the park, you can go have lunch at downtown Disney, just boop in and out.
Yeah,
Super
and
easy.
and they have the best pizza there at Naples. So, I would do that a lot when I was living in California. And as for Disney Springs, I love that there's so much to do. And because there's so much to do, there's a little something for everybody from the restaurants, the shopping, to the experiences. Like if you want to go bowling, you can go bowling. If you want to see a concert, you can catch a concert. If you want to take a family picture, there's the PhotoPass studio. You can get a silhouette done. And there's so many different restaurants to appease all palates that you're interested in trying out, right? It's a fun place to go.
Yeah, for me, for downtown Disney, my favorite part is that you literally can't get lost. If you get lost, it's because your eyes are closed. Like you go left, you go right. It is a straight line. It's a straight line to the Disneyland Hotel. It's a straight line to the monorail. It's a straight line to the theme parks. Like, just pick a direction and you'll figure out if you're going the right way or not. So easy to get around.
Yeah.
And then Disney Springs, I have only been once, and it was a miserably hot day in August.
Mhm.
But I liked that there was a lot of variety of places to go. There was a Christmas shop, which I loved. Christmas is my jam. So I was really, really in my happy place there. And it seems like there's a lot of like high quality restaurants, not necessarily like expensive restaurants, but like places that you'd want to eat multiple times because they're just that good.
Yeah, I see what you mean. That's totally true. Let's talk about the history of these two areas. So, Allie, what's going on at Downtown Disney?
So Downtown Disney opened in January 2001, and it's located where the original parking lot for Disneyland and California Adventure used to be. They didn't quite pave Paradise and put up a parking lot. They paved a parking lot and put up Paradise.
I guess that works.
Yeah. But yeah, it's where the parking lot used to be. And they've had some like small refurbishments over the years, nothing really major. Things closed, a hotel didn't open, and so they reopened the things that closed. But there is a refurbishment coming in 2022 to downtown Disney. So a couple places are going to actually be demolished. A couple places are going to close, and there's going to be new shopping and dining venues opening and a new look. And that's really all we know about this refurbishment that's coming up.
Yeah, they announced that at Destination D23 about a month ago, and I feel like they want to play that close to their chest because, they had this plan for the fourth hotel and they released concept art and all this stuff, and then Anaheim said no. So I feel like they don't want to get in that situation where they get everybody excited just to have something like that happen again.
Right.
So Disney Springs has a longer history than Downtown Disney, which is funny because Walt Disney World opened after Disneyland Resort did. But originally started as Lake Buena Vista Village in 1975, and where it's located is really close to the original preview center of the resort, which if you're driving on, I think it's Buena Vista Drive, it's now the Amateur Athletic Union building. So that area was always kind of targeted by Disney to be like a shopping area. They wanted to have some residences there and things like that. So it's no surprise that a shopping center went up 4 years after the park opened. 2 years after it opened, it was renamed the Walt Disney World Village. And then in the 80s, Pleasure Island opened in 1989, actually. And the way that came about was because a lot of nightclubs were popping up all over Orlando, and they realized they were losing business to these nightclubs at night. And they thought, well, that's a way for us to make money, right? And there was actually a fee to enter this area, and eventually they dropped that fee and just did cover charges. But it was kind of a more adult area of the whole downtown Disney in Florida, and it had a lot of ties to the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. So if you're into the SEA universe, there were a lot of like Easter eggs there. In 1989, the same year Pleasure Island opened, the whole area was renamed into the Disney Village Marketplace. And then in 1995, Pleasure Island and Disney Village Marketplace merged into Downtown Disney. And in 2004, that's when that fee to enter Pleasure Island was dropped, and it was the whole area was free for everybody to enter. And then finally, in 2015, Disney Springs came about. It was, a multi-year renovation to get it to what it is today. So 2015 really was when it fully opened as Disney Springs. And they're actually still working on a couple things over by the movie theaters, like Salt and Straw is coming. And then across from the movie theaters, there was supposed to be a restaurant right there on the water. And then that restaurant like pulled out. So there's construction walls down there, and I don't know what the latest is. So it's still evolving, just as Downtown Disney in California is evolving.
Yeah, it seems like Disney Springs has never stopped evolving
Yeah.
from what you said.
Yeah, it does seem like that. And all the renamings, like, I'm not really sure why they renamed it except to get the Disney name in there. But going from Walt Disney World Village to the Disney Village Marketplace, maybe that's a step to make it more themed, like Village Marketplace that kind of has a story to it, just in the naming.
Just like in the naming, I feel like Walt Disney World Village, that's where like the retired cast members go live, but like the Disney Village Marketplace, that's some place where you can go shopping. That's
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 true.
my yeah.
Because I hear Walt Disney World Village and I think, oh, the Olympic Village, the people must live there.
hmm So at Downtown Disney, let's talk about the size and kind of what you can find there. Downtown Disney is itty bitty, teeny tiny. It is only 20 acres. There are 17 shops and 21 restaurants currently open, and that is from the Disneyland website, not from Wikipedia. So what about Disney Springs?
Well, I just looked it up because I forgot to look up the size of Disney Springs. It's about 120 acres, so it's like 6 times the size of Downtown Disney. Yeah, it's huge. And according to the Disney website, there's over 150 offerings, including restaurants, shops, entertainment. So it's clearly much, much, much larger. And in the beginning, a little bit ago, you mentioned how Downtown Disney is just a straight line
Mhm.
front, I'm not gonna lie, the first few times I went to Disney Springs, I got really turned around because I was expecting it to be just a straight line, and it's definitely not just a straight line.
Yeah, it's like several concentric circles, and there's
Kind
like
of.
an
Yeah.
island also. Like,
Not really an island, but there's like a boardwalk across the water to like cut off part of the circle. But it's
it's
not really,
confusing.
it's not a complete circle. It's like a big U around the water. Yeah,
It's
it is.
just it's a
It's
happy face.
confusing. Yeah, it's a happy face. There we go. So, is there any sort of like story to Downtown Disney or like theming?
So story, not so much. So the architectural styles, it's a combination of Art Deco, Craftsman, and Prairie styles, and it was kind of put together to really complement Disney California Adventure because they opened within like a month of each other. So they were really built to, each complement the other's look and have like the same kind of postcard feel.
Mhm.
But there's not really a story. It's really Disney going like, hey, people keep going to other shopping areas. We should have a significant shopping area that, keep them on Disney property. So,
And I think they're kind of somewhat locked into that craftsman style because one of the unique aspects about Downtown Disney is the Grand Californian is right there. You can have a room like on top of World of Disney, essentially, like looking
mhm.
down into Downtown Disney. And I don't think they're going to change the Grand Californian from that craftsman style. Like if you've
No.
been in the Grand Californian, that's what it is, craftsman through and through.
Yeah.
So I think they're kind of locked into that style, and it's not a bad style, but it kind of limits what they can do with refurbishments.
Mhm.
Disney Springs, on the other hand, does have a story. That was part of the refurbishment, kind of, they had the Pleasure Island and the Marketplace areas, which were, kind of separate areas. So when they refurbished the whole thing, they wanted to give it a story. And so it's divided into four neighborhoods called the Landing, Marketplace, Town Center, and West Side. And there is a backstory. It's kind of like Disney Springs is supposed to be reflective of like a late 1800s, early 1900s Florida town that was built up around springs, like a natural spring, and settlers came in and they built a marketplace and all that stuff. I would like to explore more of the story because I walk around and I see things and I'm like, I wonder what that's about. And with Pleasure Island having the history of tying into the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, I wonder if Disney is going to bring in some of the backstory of Disney Springs into that. I know there's a book series coming out for the SEA, so I'm curious if they're going to address that at all.
They could. We'll
Yeah.
we'll find out when it's released.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you said, you just walk through downtown Disney, right? There's no way to get there other than like parking and walking or walking from the parks, right?
Well, you can get there from the monorail. There's a monorail stop down by where like ESPN Zone used to be and by
Yeah,
the hotel. But
yeah.
yeah, it's pretty much, and you can get there. Well, yeah, you pretty much have to walk. But it's walk or take the monorail.
Yeah, walk or take the monorail, which is really nice. Disney Springs, you can take a boat from some resorts, and you can walk from Saratoga Springs, and there's some good neighbor hotels that are right there that you can walk to. Otherwise, you're parking if you're a local, or if you're staying on property that's not connected by a boat or a walkway, you're taking a bus. There's no I mean, you've been to Walt Disney World. You can't really walk from point A to point B. It's way too spread out. And it's very close to Typhoon Lagoon. So they're both kind of on that part of the resort.
So let's talk about some of the shops and restaurants and entertainment at each one of these, and just kind of do some little nitty gritty comparisons. So CJ, talk to me about what they've got in common.
Well, they both have Earl of Sandwich, which is great. We love Earl of Sandwich. Although, from what I understand, that's one of the locations closing for the Downtown Disney refurbishment. So
Sad trombone.
I know. So I hope that they find a place to put it when they reopen or they relocate it somewhere because it's extremely popular
Hmm.
in California. Naples, the pizza restaurant, is really, really similar to Via Napoli at Epcot. It's owned by the same parent company, same style of pizza, really good. Salt and Straw is not open yet at Disney Springs, but they will both have the Salt and Straw ice cream, which is really good, really fun flavors. And if you're like vegan, there's some good options for you there that don't taste bad. They taste really good. Splitsville, Sprinkles, Starbucks, Sephora, the Disney Dress Shop, Disney Home Store, Lego Store, Pandora Jewelry. A new soccer store just opened up in downtown Disney, which has been in Disney Springs for a while. They each have a Star Wars store. There's Sugar Boo, the sunglasses store. There's, the art gallery, World of Disney's, of course.
Of course.
And there's the candy shop called Marceline's Confectionery in downtown Disney. But at Disney Springs, there's two candy shops called the Candy Cauldron and Goofy's Candy Company, but they sell the same stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so a lot of things are similar or exactly the same.
Yeah. And the ones that are unique to downtown Disney include Curl Surf, California Sole, SOLE, like the shoes,
Mhm.
Ballast Point, Black Tap, Catal. I'm not sure if it's Catal or Catal or Catal or really how
I'm
to
not
pronounce
I'm not
that.
sure either, but it's a really good restaurant for brunch. I haven't eaten there. Well, I did appetizers and wine once, which was good, but brunch really good at Catal.
You can get Jamba Juice, go to La Brea Bakery, and please go to La Brea Bakery. Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen and the Jazz Kitchen Express, Tortilla Joe's, Uva Bar, and Wetzel's Pretzels. There's a bunch of quick service options like Jazz Kitchen Express, the taqueria at Tortilla Joe's, and there's also a Star Wars VR experience that's new.
Yeah, and apparently this one's free.
Oh,
Yeah, I
well, I
think
will
it's
be there next week, so maybe.
yeah, I'm not really sure how it works. I think it's one of the Oculus things, but I'm not 100% sure.
I will see if we can get time to check that out, and if it's fingers crossed that it's not terribly crowded, because if it's too crowded, I'm just gonna turn around and go home probably.
I don't blame you, but I love how so many of the table service restaurants at Downtown Disney have a quick service option. You know,
Mhm.
like if you don't want to sit at Ralph Brennan's, you can order quick service from the express window. And there's some menu differences, but it's, the same style food. Same with the taqueria. Right before Disneyland closed, we discovered the taqueria at Tortilla Joe's, and it's really, really good. Like I want to go back and order one of their burrito bowls. It's so good.
And a lot of the original stores at Downtown Disney are still open. So the things that were there on opening day that are still open include World of Disney, the Lego Store, Sephora, Naples, La Brea Bakery, Catal, Uva, Ralph Brennan's, both the express and the full restaurant, Wetzel's Pretzels, and Marceline's Confectionery.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly didn't look up which OGs were still open at Disney Springs.
Honestly,
Um,
it's probably a much longer list. There's so much more at Disney Springs. So, where it's, a short list for me to list at Downtown Disney, there's just so much more at Disney
oh
Springs. We'd
yeah,
probably be talking for 5 minutes straight.
probably. Well, speaking of Disney Springs, there's some things that are unique to Disney Springs, as well as unique to like Disneyland and Disney World, but not necessarily unique to outside of that bubble. So like anthropology, there's an anthropology store at Disney Springs. You're not going to find that at Disneyland, but you're going to find that at a mall very close to Disneyland. The Coach store, Columbia, there's a Coca-Cola store and a rooftop bar. Like those things you can find outside of Disney, but as far as Disney Springs goes, like they have that, right? They also have a Christmas store, which is awesome. Like it's Christmas 365 days a year there. Why doesn't Downtown Disney have one? I don't know. I feel like
I
they're
wish
missing
they
out.
did.
Yeah. It's interesting because I was thinking about Disney Springs and they have a really good mix of higher end stores as well as common mall shops and then like really unique things that you won't really find anywhere else. So like
Mhm.
they have Coach and they have Lacoste and they have Kate Spade. Like those are expensive stores, right? Like
Mhm.
high end stores. But then they have like Fabletics and Lululemon and Sperry. We'll go find that at whatever local mall, right? They've got some touristy things like Pearl Factory where you go like pick the oyster and you get the pearl. They've got like a
Mhm.
Harley Davidson store. They've got a little cigar shop and there's people that sit in the lounge and like smoke cigars and I hate walking past that. It's really gross. They've got movie theaters, food trucks. They have Amaret's Patisserie, which is like a pastry shop and they have really good pastries. Then unique dining options, which you touched on earlier when you were talking about some of your favorite aspects of Disney Springs. Homecoming is excellent. Highly recommend. Chicken Guy, which is like Guy Fieri's fast food chicken restaurant. They've got the Coca-Cola rooftop bar, the Edison, just really unique options that you're not really going to find anywhere else. They've got performance stages. They've got the balloon that you can ride up and look around. They've got Cirque du Soleil. They have a little carousel and a train, and they have the vintage amphicars, which are cars that turn into boats when you drive into the water. So that's really cool. They got a lot of stuff going on.
So a fun little side note about the amphicars. So I live in Texas. I live in Austin, and in Austin is the Lyndon B. Johnson Library because it's approximately where LBJ was from. And one of the things you learn when you go to the LBJ library is that Lyndon B. Johnson had an amphicar, but
Oh.
he didn't. He would take people for a drive and not tell them that it was an amphicar. So he'd just drive straight into the lake just to get people's reactions.
That's awesome. Honestly, if I had one, that's probably what I would do too. That's really cool. I've been wanting to do the amphicar. I need to find a party of 3 to go with me. Because I don't trust my kids in an open boat like that.
No.
So no. They'd probably jump. Well, one of them would jump out. The other one, I'm sure would have like a diaper issue as soon as we get on the boat.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there's like, unique things. And they do have performance stages, but these are like stages with seats. Like the one outside World of Disney is like a true amphitheater, right? And downtown Disney, they do have live performances, but they're kind of like street performers.
Yeah. A lot of like there is like a stage area, but it's really standing room only. You might get a bench if you're lucky. And there's people who it's basically like you set up a folding table and just like they perform and like they sell their CDs and stuff. And I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds shady when I put it like that, but it's all Disney sanctioned. Like Disney wouldn't let them be there if they didn't like if they weren't approved to be there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's just to me it's a little weird. Like I would like to see something a little more upscale for downtown Disney, you know?
yeah, but where would they put it?
Yeah, and that's the problem they run into. And we've talked about like the problem of space before, and I feel like the theme parks, Disneyland and California Adventure use their space really well. And downtown Disney, that narrow, right to left, that's the only way you go. That limits them in that way as well.
Yeah.
Although maybe I remember at Destination D23 when they were talking about the downtown Disney expansion or the refurbishment, they said they were going to have an outdoor like entertainment venue or like event venue, something like that. So maybe they'll add that down there.
It could. Yeah, I could see like where the Rainforest Cafe or where ESPN Zone, where those like buildings are. I could see them doing like an entertainment venue at either of those.
Yeah. Actually, let's talk about ESPN Zone because for our listeners who don't know or who have never been, at the far, like the Disneyland Hotel side of downtown Disney is the ESPN Zone, or was the ESPN Zone. And it was a restaurant, and there was a little arcade upstairs with like sports themed games. And now it's just empty. Like they closed it and they've used it for like they used to do merchandise events in there. There was like a pop-up selfie exam or exhibit kind of thing. And now I don't know what they do over there. I think it's still empty, but what do you think they should do with that spot?
Like I just said, they can put in like entertainment venue in there. You could have indoor air conditioned entertainment.
That's what you'd like to see?
I think that would be I think that would fill a gap
Hmm.
that we don't have in the Disney property.
Hmm. That's a fair assessment.
I
I
mean, like
think,
there are definitively indoor air conditioned entertainment venues in Anaheim. That's just there's not one really on Disney property. So
yeah, yeah. I think I'd like to see this is going to go a little left field here. I would like to see some sort of escape room experience. That's a big
that'd be fun.
building. Yeah, that's a big building. They have room to do multiple escape. I mean, it's a two-story building. They can do some upstairs, some downstairs, and maybe the center areas like the check-in area or something. I think that they could pull it off and they could do some really cool Disney themed escape rooms. And they could do like family-friendly ones, or they could do harder ones. I think there's some opportunity there.
See, okay, having done some escape rooms in downtown Austin, I feel like a third of that building could be dedicated to escape rooms, and you'd
Yeah.
still have plenty of escape rooms to do, and two, plenty of room to put in something else.
Well, here's my other idea then. A food hall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was thinking how Disney Springs has a lot of like food carts, like BB
Mhm.
Wolf Sausage Company and Aristocreps. There's not really food carts in downtown Disney except for like Wetzel's has a small cart and there's like churro carts, right?
Yeah.
Like you
And
can't really
like the churro carts, they aren't just like your cinnamon churros. Like you
no.
can get fancy flavored churros too, like
They're
Oreo churros and like
yeah,
strawberry churros. It's
and they're
crazy.
not Disneyland branded churros. They're an outside company runs it. But from these carts, you're not gonna get a full meal unless you count like a corn dog and a soda as a full meal, which like I personally don't.
No.
And then there's no place to sit unless you find a bench, right?
Yeah.
So I think they could use that ESPN zone space and make some sort of food hall. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah.
And that'd be good for like small local restaurants to just be like,
Yeah.
hey, let's put in a little, and you would get a lot of traffic. You would get a lot of locals and a lot of tourists. The
Yeah.
locals would be like, hey, this place is good. Oh, you have a full like restaurant in whatever city? Cool. I'll think about that for my next date night.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they did, half escape room, half food hall, it's like a perfect date night in that one building. And I think they'd get people who are visiting and locals.
Yeah, you escape and then you get to eat.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the problem that they run into is that there's a lot of escape rooms in Orange County.
Mhm.
And Disney's, going to charge a premium for whatever, if they ever do an escape room, they're going to charge a lot for it. And then right down the street from Disneyland is the Anaheim Packing District, which is a food hall.
Mhm.
So they have some stiff competition, but if they want to keep people on property spending money, that's a way for them to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
I just feel sad that that building is sitting there empty most of the time.
Yeah, it does. It's currently kind of just taking up space, but I
Yes.
there's potential for a lot of things to go in there. So I
Yeah.
guess we'll see maybe next year
Maybe
what
in the
Disney decides to do with it.
Yeah, it wasn't clear in the refurbishment information if that was included or not. And I hope it is because it's just such a big. And why doesn't Disneyland have a PhotoPass studio? Question. Why does that not exist? Like, even Walt Disney World people sometimes don't know that the PhotoPass studio exists, right? It's where you go and there's PhotoPass photographers there to take your picture. They've got backdrops and sometimes, they're themed to like Christmas or Halloween or whatever. And they have little props, like sometimes they have those like marble columns that you like lean on for your pictures.
Yeah.
Like they've got stuff like that, right? It's like a photo studio. Why doesn't, and there's 3 locations in Walt Disney World. Why doesn't Disneyland have one?
And I think actually you answered your own question with that at the beginning because you said a lot of Disney World people doesn't know it exists.
Are you
So,
saying Disneyland people wouldn't know either?
yeah, it's
Well,
not I mean, if people don't know it's there, people won't go to it. So if
I,
there's no
I mean,
traffic,
yeah. But here's the thing, if they put that in that ESPN zone building, here's what we're doing. A food hall, a photo pass studio, and escape rooms, all in the ESPN zone building.
and we'll put a live entertainment venue in there too because why not?
Yeah, and maybe a rooftop bar to top it off. They're just gonna go all out on that one building. They've really got to make use of their space a little better in downtown Disney.
I laugh at the rooftop bar, but that would actually be a really great place to watch fireworks from.
Right? They could charge like a cover charge to go watch the fireworks from there. Because think about how many people stand on the roof of the parking structure, right?
Yeah,
And they don't hear the music, but they could pipe in the music. They could have a little cocktail bar, maybe
dessert
some
party.
snacks. Yeah, dessert party. There you go. Without even stepping foot in a park, Disney needs to talk to us, and we will become Imagineers and make all this happen.
Yeah, Disney, if you're listening to this podcast, we get credit for that idea, okay?
Yeah, call it Allie and CJ's rooftop bar on the
Yeah.
old ESPN Zone building. I mean, that would be really awesome. And during the day, they could use it as a wedding venue. They could just spruce it up and it could be a wedding venue.
I could see that. I could see that happening.
Seriously. We've got good ideas. They need to hire us. Is there anything else you want to add about Downtown Disney or Disney Springs?
I just one thing that I want to emphasize how small downtown Disney is. There's a pretty well-known shopping center in Southern California. It's the Irvine Spectrum. Now, downtown Disney is 20 acres. The Irvine Spectrum is 5,000 acres.
Yeah.
Just some
Yeah.
perspective there if you've been to the Spectrum and if you've been to downtown Disney.
Yeah. Yeah. Downtown Disney's small. And it's funny because a lot of people who visit Southern California from overseas or whatever, like they'll go to South Coast Plaza or the Spectrum to do their shopping. They're not going to do their shopping really at Downtown Disney,
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
they're going to World of Disney, right? Um, like I feel like curl surf exists there because there's tourists who might want to go to the beach and they need some beach supplies, right? Like
Mhm.
swim trunks or something, or they see people at the beach dressed a certain way and wonder where can I get those outfits? They go to curl surf, right? Or like the California Soul sandal shop. Somebody's shoe broke in the park. Oh, California Soul, I can get some more shoes, right?
Yeah.
Like I when we were living there, I don't think I would go like, oh, I need some new shoes. I'm going to go to California Soul. Like I'm not going to do that.
No,
No,
definitely not.
no, I'd rather go to the Spectrum for my shopping or South Coast Plaza.
All right, with that, it is time for the final showdown. The facts have been laid out. Can we see eye to eye on these? Or does one side stand out above the crowd? CJ, thoughts? Go.
Okay, so downtown Disney has a certain atmosphere that I don't think exists at Disney Springs. Like there's excitement in the air because it's leading you to the theme parks, right? And it's really a part of your day experiencing the theme parks, whereas Disney Springs is like, oh, I have an extra day or I have time before my flight. However, I think Disney Springs is more appealing to both locals and tourists because myself as a local, if I'm looking for new clothes, like I can go walk into Zara or Uniqlo or something, and those are shops that I would shop at, and I can find something there. And then there's all the great restaurants. It's like an all in one place. Like the tourists are going to be happy and the locals are going to be happy. Um, what I don't like about Disney Springs is that it's separate. To me, it's separate from your theme park experience, but I'm still going to give the edge to Disney Springs.
Yeah, I would actually agree with you on that. I think Disney Springs is a better shoppertainment experience overall. Downtown Disney is great, but to me, it's more of a shuttle to get you into the parks and
Hmm.
maybe distract you with some shops, food, etc. along the way.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I think I don't know. I think Downtown Disney has kind of like a magical way to get you to the parks because, like, the parking structure is kind of far away. Like, okay, the theme parks in Walt Disney World, the parking lots are mostly right on top of the parks,
Mhm.
right? Just Magic Kingdom is the exception. But Disneyland, they're a little further removed. So being able to go through Downtown Disney, it's a good transition from parking experience to getting to the parks.
Yeah, it does ramp you up. It gets you into the right atmosphere. You're not hearing the like street traffic once you're in downtown Disney. Like you're on
Yeah.
Disney property.
Yeah, they play good music there.
Yeah.
And you know what? I really like that Disney Springs has a story. I think that puts it over the edge for me as well. Like there's a backstory there and there's theming. I wish Downtown Disney would do more with that. There's no reason why they can't have an obvious story going on.
Mhm.
Maybe they will one day. I don't know. Maybe. All
Maybe.
right. Well, we see eye to eye on this, so that's good.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we've mostly seen eye to eye, right?
I think we only had one disagreement.
Okay. Well, things might get a little testy coming up here in our next couple episodes. We'll find out.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us as we talked about Downtown Disney and Disney Springs. Let us know what you think. Is Disney Springs better? Is Downtown Disney better? Are we totally crazy or did we hit the mark on this one? Let us know. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Park2Park Pod with the number 2. You can email us with questions, feedback, ideas for future episodes, and more at park2parkpod@gmail.com. That's all with the number 2. You can subscribe to us, leave a review. We like stars. You can give us as many stars as they'll let you, and we'll be very, very happy. Just leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on YouTube as well, so you can like, subscribe, and I don't know. I guess there's a little notification bell you can hit too. I don't know. I hear YouTubers say that all the time.
Hit
This
that
newfangled thing.
notification button. What's up, guys? Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's what they say.
Slam that subscribe button.
That's right. Okay, well, thank you guys for joining us. That was a fun discussion, shoppertainment, this fun Disney concept that I think only Disney can really pull off. Next time, we will be discussing the hotels of the Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort. Preview, there is a huge difference in the number of hotels on property and the style of vacation that you can do at those hotels. We'll get into it next time. Thanks for coming by.